Welcome back to the channel. I'm about to show you how to disable all the lights in the front end of the Chrysler 300, including these pesky little daytime running lights. So stay tuned. Oh, and for you that are new, I'm a lawyer in a wheelchair, and here on this channel, I'm pursuing my obsession with cars and feeding my appetite for adrenaline. If you'd like to tag along, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on bell notifications so you don't miss a thing. You know, anytime you get a new car, it's always a good idea to sit down in there and mess with all the little buttons and gadgets and figure out how everything works. Well, you wouldn't think that the headlights would be something you would need to do that with. I mean, come on. It's headlights. It's just a little switch over there. That's intuitive, right? Well, apparently not. Apparently Chrysler decided to make it a little more difficult for us. If you found this video based on the title, you're probably searching for a solution for how to turn off all of the lights on the Chrysler 300. I'm talking about disabling every light in the front end. Not just the headlights, not the park lights, the daylight running lights, everything. You would think just simply turning the switch over on the left side of the dash to the off position would do the trick. Think again. I'm about to show you how to do it, but then if you want to stick around and listen to a funny story of how I learned the hard way, that'll be after the tutorial. So stay tuned. So before we go out and get started with the tutorial, I need to define a couple of terms. The headlights is a catch-all term, kind of that we might use in terms of, you know, the lights in the front end, but... Oh, come on. Good grief. Just get on with it. You don't have to be so technical. You're not arguing in front of the Supreme Court. Terminology doesn't matter. Yeah. Just call them what they are. Yes, it does matter. Headlights are headlights. We have to know, the rest of the tutorial is dependent on whether we know the difference between... You know what? Why am I explaining this to you? Did you really have to interrupt me right in the middle of this? Yeah, forget it. You know what, we're gonna have to cut this. Before we get started with the actual tutorial, I need to define a couple of terms. Normally, when we refer to the headlights, you know, we usually use that as a catch-all phrase. But actually, as you probably know, cars actually have usually three different types of lights in the front. The headlights, the park lights, and these modern cars have daytime running lights. We need to know the difference in order to understand why, or what I'm about to explain to you. So, headlights are the lights that we actually use to drive with, and the daytime running lights are those little LEDs around the lights in the Chrysler 300. This will all make sense in a little bit. So here's the light switch. When it's on auto, it automatically adjusts accordingly to how bright it is outside. And then you have two other positions. Here's the what I would think meant off. Here's I believe that's the park lights, and this is for the headlights. You can turn it to there where the headlights stay on all the time. So what I'm going to do is turn the car on and show you what it looks like when it's on auto. Alright, so here's the car from the front end. When it started during the day. So I'm going to start it now. As you see, of course it's during the day, so the headlights are off, but the daylight running lights are on. Okay? So now, let me show you what happens when you turn the switch to off. Alright, so now I'm going to turn the switch to the off position, like so. Okay, so as you saw, the light switch is on the off position, but nothing changed. Now obviously if this would have been at night, the headlights would have been on in the auto position. Then when we switched to off, the headlights would have gone off. But as you see, the daylight running lights are still on, and these would still be on if it was nighttime. If you switch the switch to the this icon, there's a slight change. Alright, so you can't really see a difference because it's so bright out here, but from over here you can see that these lights are on. And then obviously when you turn the switch to this icon, it looks like this. Boom, the actual headlights are on. Now even when you cut the car off, as it is now, shut the car engine off, this is what it looks like. Headlights are still on, of course, and that's with on the headlights position. And I'll put it up on the screen here where you can see. Okay, so, but even with the switch on off position, these lights are off, but the daylight running lights are still on. And these are still pretty bright at night. You can't turn these off on that cluster, on that switch instrument up there that I'm showing you. No, you have to turn these off a different way. And that's what I'm going to show you right now. Okay, let's get inside here so we can see the screen. Oh, it's not on. Guess we better turn some power. Okay. Okay, so alright, from the home screen you just go to the settings icon. I've already done it. And then you scroll down and you'll see this, lights. Highlight that, open it up, and then you come down here to daytime running lights, and you see it's checked. So as long as that's checked, those daytime running lights are going to stay on no matter where this is at. Even if this is on off, those daylight running lights will be on as long as the key's on or the engine's started, right? So when we uncheck it, all of the lights will be disabled when this is on the off position, that whether it's at night or during the day. So if you're in the situation that I was in, where you need all of the lights in the front end to be disabled, it's not as simple as just turning the switch over here. You got to go in here and deactivate the daylight running lights, daytime running lights. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, I want to show you something. Earlier when I was talking about the difference in the terminology between the headlights, daylight running lights, park lights, etc. This is why it was so important to know. When I was trying to figure out how to turn those lights off, I went to the vehicle user guide. And when you turn that on, you know, this is the user guide. When you go to search, you can search for terms. Now, you can see my recent searches. This is what I was searching for when I was having the problem, when I was needing to turn the lights off. Now, I didn't think about those lights being called daytime running lights. I was just thinking headlights. But that is why the terminology is so important. When you search for headlights, this is what comes. There's more options, but none of these solve my problem. Now if you scroll down, see here, you actually do see daytime running lights. So if you did think about those LEDs being called that, then you think, oh, okay, I'll click here, and this will tell me how to turn them off. When you open it up, this is all you get. It just tells you what they are. It doesn't tell you how to turn them off. Even when you scroll all the way down, there's just related topics. And none of those are how to turn the daylight running lights off. It's possible that there is something in this guide somewhere that tells you how to do that, how to turn the daylight running lights off. If we type in daylight running light, we get this. But I think this is just the same. Let's see what happens when I click it. Yeah, see, it's the same thing. So I can't find anywhere, at least by searching in the user manual, how to turn these lights off. Now, it could be in there somewhere, and I'm just, need to dig further to get into it, but it needs to be easier to locate. But that's why the terminology is important. But even if you did know the terminology, obviously it wouldn't help anyway, because this doesn't tell you how to turn them off. Okay, so for the funny story. So I had just gotten the car and I decided to take it to a drive-in theater. Now, a lot of you probably have never been to a drive-in theater, so I will put it up on the screen right now, kind of what it looks like. So I'm sitting there, it's almost dark. Of course, it has to be dark for it to work. Previews started. It wasn't completely dark, but it was dark enough. So I'm sitting there, and there's a car that comes in front of me. It parks down, as you see where I just showed you, in front of the little driveway there. So it was down a little ways from me, but still pretty close. So I'm sitting there, and it's pretty hot. It was the middle of the summer, so I thought, well, I'm probably going to need to start the car every now and again. Run the air conditioner, maybe defog the windows, whatever. So, being the ethical guy I am, I thought I need to figure out how to disable all of the lights in the front end, so that when I turn on the key, or the engine, the lights don't come on. Now, I've been to this drive-in before, in my old truck. Not my old truck that you see on the channel so much, but another truck, a 2011 Chevrolet Silverado. It was easy. When you got ready to disable the lights, all you got to do is just pull the little switch all the way to the left, I believe, and everything went out. No big deal. So when I got ready to turn on the key, I would just pull the switch and turn on the key. Nothing came on. Easy peasy. Well, I assumed that the 300 was similar. So I looked over at the switch, pulled the switch to the off position, and I figured, hey, when I turn on the key, the lights will go off. Well, it got time. I needed to turn on the engine, so switched it to the off position, hit the start button, start it up, and I couldn't see any lights shining out. I thought, okay, it worked. Great. And after about 5 minutes, or maybe a little longer, after I had started the engine, the car in front of me, it was actually a truck, this elderly lady got out of the driver's side and started kind of walking back towards the back end of her truck. And she was moving her arms around, and I don't think she was yelling, but she was waving her arms around and shaking her finger at me, And I was like, what's this woman's, deal? What's the problem? And I was looking behind me, there's nothing going on, and I thought, she just kept pointing right at the car, and I was like, oh, what's the deal? And so I'm looking around trying to figure out what I'm doing, to make this lady so upset. And that's when I notice. I look in the reflection of her truck in the tailgate, and I see it. Those stinking daytime running lights are just shining like the sun. You know, I couldn't see the effect of them, you know, the beam, because I was facing the movie theater, the movie screen, and so I guess it was diverting my eyes from the effects of the beam of the light, so I didn't realize they were on. But I could see the reflection of them in that truck, and I hadn't noticed it. So I cut the engine off, got the lights to go out, and, you know, the lady got back in her truck. Everything was okay. She didn't come and assault me or anything. She sure pointed that finger though, you know. But anyway, needless to say, I didn't start the car anymore that night. I just suffered. And then it took me a pretty good while to figure out a lot of running, you know, going back and forth, messing with the switch like I showed you in the tutorial. Finally figured out, well, you saw it, finally figured out that it's the daylight running lights. Daytime running lights, whatever. Anyway, you know, I kind of wish that it was like my truck was. You know, it had daytime running lights as well, but when you hit that off switch on the initial, you know, light switch, everything goes off. Would have been nice if that would happen. Anyway, hope you found this entertaining. It wasn't very much fun for me at the time, but, you know. Anyway, that's all for me. If you found this video at all helpful, or maybe even entertaining, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell, hit the little bell for the notifications, and maybe even drop a like. I'll see you next time.